In the heart of African American culinary traditions lies a rich tapestry woven with flavors, history, and resilience. It's a cuisine born from struggle and survival and tells a story far deeper than its delicious dishes. It's a story that stretches across continents and centuries, from bustling markets of West Africa to sprawling plantations of the American South. So, join us today while we chronicle the history and legacy of soul food. And if you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. And if you like audio only episodes, you can find my podcast wherever you get your podcast. But without further ado, let's get started. Soul food is more than a type of cooking. It is a symbol of Black culture. This cuisine traces its roots back to the agriculture and culinary traditions of enslaved Africans in the American South. It includes dishes like fried chicken, collard greens, cornbread, and black-eyed peas, known for their comfort and rich flavors. Soul food is not only about providing nourishment, but is a symbol of community, cultural pride, and identity over generations. But beyond its taste, soul food has played a crucial role in American cuisine, influencing dining habits and spotlighting Black heritage. The recipes and techniques that they have been passed down through generations, each telling a story of adaptation and perseverance. As soul food spread from its southern origins, it became a cherished part of America's diverse culinary scene, inspiring chefs and food lovers everywhere. Let's start at the beginning. Born from West African culinary traditions, the staples of West African farming societies included grains, yams, legumes, vegetables, and some meats, elements that are closely aligned to soul food's basics. Western African regions had preferences for different starches, including rice, millet, sorghum, and yams. Fishing was crucial along the coast and interior rivers, contributing significantly to their diet. Traditional West African cooking methods included frying, smoking, baking with ash, roasting over a fire, and boiling in water, many of which are staples of soul food today. Seasoning pastes were commonly used to enhance the flavor and the color of meats and showcase the shared culinary practice between Western Africa and the Americas. Culinary knowledge was passed down orally since there was no written cookbooks before European contact, and the Columbian exchange, which brought Europe and Asia and the new crops like maize and plantains to Western Africa, were skillfully incorporated to their already rich cuisine. So during the transatlantic slave trade, enslaved Africans would bring their culinary traditions with them to the Americas, laying the groundwork for what would become soul food. Their culinary framework was centered around savory sauces and stews served on top or with a starch, embodying a resilient and adaptive approach to cooking despite their harsh conditions. The basic diet of the enslaved was extremely limited. It often consisted of the 3 M's: meat, meal, or molasses, with corn serving as the staple crop. They creatively used the ingredients they had to produce nourishing meals, such as sweetening cornbread with molasses, which they would call long sweetened. And despite these limited rations and being provided the least desirable cuts of meat, the enslaved demonstrated resourcefulness by transforming their least desirable cuts into flavorful dishes. They mastered slow cooking techniques and used flavors like onions and garlic and peppers to tenderize tough cuts of meat while infusing them with rich flavors. This fusion of African culinary traditions with available ingredients and cooking methods from the Americas led to unique dishes reflective of their diverse cultural influences. For example, gumbo from southern Louisiana showcases African, French, Spanish, and Native American elements, with okra serving as a thickening agent akin to its use in Western Africa. The enslaved would often supplement their meager diets by foraging and hunting and tending to small gardens. Leafy green vegetables like collards and turnip greens provided essential nourishment, while black-eyed peas served as a crucial protein source. They also would introduce hot and spicy sauces and oils that would add depth and complexity to their meager meals. After the Civil War, newly emancipated African Americans adapted their traditional diets to the changing post-emancipation landscape. Many became sharecroppers and rent farmers, which influenced their access to food. Cornmeal became a staple, used in cornbread and hush puppies, and often paired with collard greens. And again, with limited economic resources, they relied on inexpensive ingredients and less desirable cuts, such as those of chitlins and ham hocks. Pork would grow in prominence and become a mainstay through farming and hog butchering practices. This post-war period allowed African Americans to reclaim their culinary heritage, with black-eyed peas, collards, and pork dishes becoming emblematic of their culture. As economic opportunities changed, it gradually led to the diversification of available food, and the black church would emerge as a central community hub where church gatherings and suppers became important social events where culinary skills were showcased and reinforcing traditions and strengthening communal ties. As black folks migrated out of the South, they carried their Southern cooking traditions nationwide, contributing to the establishment of a diverse range of culinary offerings. African Americans also started open restaurants and food businesses, utilizing their skills that they had developed during enslavement. They specialized in barbecue, fried chicken, and fried fish, which would solidify their place in African American culture. This movement sparked an evolution of soul food as these migrants adapted traditional soul food dishes to their new urban environments. Fish fries became popular in an area abundant with freshwater fish like the Great Lakes, while interactions with different ethnic groups introduced new techniques and new ingredients to the cuisine. The urban influence led to the development of down-home cooking, a culinary expression that helped African Americans maintain their connection to their roots. Street vendors and black-owned restaurants played an essential role in providing familiar Southern favorites, helping nurture a sense of community, while grocery stores began stocking Southern foods. So as we move forward into the civil rights movement, this is where you would see the emergence of the term soul food, infusing traditional Southern cooking with racial pride and political significance. This new label symbolized a step away from regional descriptors like Southern or down-home cooking, and instead fostered a sense of black solidarity. Soul food connected African American heritage to a broader culinary identity, and dishes like neck bones and chitlins and turnip greens and fried chicken not only became culinary staples, but icons of black pride and unity. Eating these foods became a form of edible black power that celebrated and affirmed black culture. However, soul food was not without its criticisms and challenges. Class divisions shaped the reception of soul food, as some wealthier black individuals often regarded soul food as merely a fad, referring to traditional terms such as down-home cooking. Black Panther Eldridge Cleaver criticized the idea of soul food being empowering, suggesting that it instead serves as a mocking slogan of the black bourgeoisie. Health concerns also arose due to the cuisine's high fat, high sugar, high salt content, often linking it to poverty. Additionally, the commercialization and co-opting of soul food pose additional challenges. The innovation of African American fine dining has sometimes mischaracterized it as inauthentic, while other restaurants that don't serve soul food staples are criticized. Media portrayals often confiscate the different aspects of black cuisine, with this legacy of being a slave food, raising questions of whether or not it perpetuates stereotypes. And soul food spread was also resisted by some conservative whites who saw it as the domain of black people or black people food. Yet, despite these challenges, the rise of soul food symbolizes cultural identity, pride, and resistance. And today, soul food stands at a bit of a crossroads, balancing its preservation with its rich heritage with the need to address modern health concerns. Its journey echoes the complex history and the cultural identity of African Americans, reflecting a connection to both its past and a vision for the future. The contemporary soul food scene is marked by simultaneous celebration of tradition and innovation. This movement emerges where upscale dining establishments reinterpret traditional African American dishes, blending nostalgia with modern culinary trends and health concerns. The health conscious approach is increasingly prevalent as chefs and home cooks aim to reduce fat and salt content found in soul food. Some establishments have even moved away from the soul food label, opting a return to down home with things like down home healthy or even vegan soul to highlight their healthier options. The rise of vegetarian and vegan soul food further expands the accessibility of the cuisine while aligning it with broader plant-based diets. Contemporary soul food also embraces global influence and fusion cuisines. As Americans become more culturally diverse, chefs have incorporated flavors and techniques from other regions while honoring the spirit of soul food. Additionally, there is an emphasis on fresh, local, and seasonal ingredients and moving away from processed foods and inexpensive cuts that characterize earlier versions of these dishes. Soul food remains a powerful staple of the Black community and continues to showcase our ability to adapt and stay resilient, and in that way mimics the African American story as a whole. Thank you. This has been One My Black History. I'm your host, Country Boy. If you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. If you like audio-only episodes, you can find my podcast wherever you get your podcasts. I'd like to thank all my financial contributors. Without you, none of this could be possible. I love you all. Peace.